Three people have been murdered in Nottingham, in England, in a stabbing spree. Two 19-year-old students, a man and a woman, and a man in his 50s. And the suspect is a West African man with a history of mental health problems. No criminal record, apparently, but a history of mental health problems. And maybe that's what's led him to carry out this horrific attack. And some people have leapt on the fact that it's an immigrant. Does that mean that we shouldn't be taking people into the country? He was here legally. He had settled status, so he's allowed to live here. He's not a British citizen, but he's living here legally. And to think of it in terms of, well, if he never moved here, then he wouldn't have killed those individuals. That's one way of looking at it. But maybe if we did more to help people with mental health problems, that would be another way of looking at it. I don't know whether his mental health problems started when he was living in West Africa or when he got here to the UK. If he was still living in West Africa, would he have killed 3 African people? Would that be any better? Is it better if murders happen abroad, away from us? Is that really how you look at things? If you want to go further and further down that road, if all you care about is immigration, then you'll see it as a solution to every problem, or the cause of every problem. One of the victims, the female student, 19-year-old, she had an Indian surname. If her ancestors had stayed in India, maybe she wouldn't have been murdered. Is that the logic of some people who can only think in terms of immigration, or sometimes in terms of race? There was another issue with this story when the Nottingham police put out a stock image of someone being arrested to notify the public that an arrest had been made, and they put an image of a white person's arm having handcuffs being put on it. But of course this perpetrator happened to be black. Why would you need to have a stock image at all? I guess, I mean, if you want to say someone's been arrested, just say they've been arrested. There's no need to put a stock image. But do we need to have the correct stock image with the correct skin tone depending on who's been arrested? Do we need to show a woman's arm being arrested if it's a woman being arrested? It was just a way of illustrating a news story when there's very few pictures to go round. But some people leapt on that as being kind of misleading, as if they were suggesting it was a white person arrested when actually it was a black person. Do you have an agenda? Do you have a go-to agenda that you bring up every time a crime is committed? There may be feminists out there saying, oh look, it was a man. It was a man who went on a killing spree. That's toxic masculinity. Aren't men bad? And if you only care about colour, maybe you'll say, well, look, it was a black person who did it. If you only care about immigration status, you'll say, well, it was another foreigner. I think the real issue here might be the mental health issue and how we treat people with mental health problems.